This is a massive, crushing blow to Messi and the entire Argentine squad, because today, football's official International Rules Committee has finally confirmed that World Cup referees actively favored Argentina on the pitch, and specifically through the video assistant referee. The video assistant referee was weaponized to send off opposing players against Argentina in a way that violated the official rules of the game. The scale of this scandal is honestly massive. Even the final referee is involved. The Slovenian official has just abruptly retired after disallowing two perfectly good goals for Spain, who still won the match simply because they played with pure, relentless heart. They actually scored 3 times but only had 1 goal counted, sparking a massive controversy and forcing his retirement, which only deepens the shadow over Messi, Argentina, and their football association. But before we dive in, I want to quickly share a surprising stat about our audience because it turns out most of you watching right now actually are not subscribed yet for one reason or another. So please consider hitting that button and subscribing, and definitely double check right now because YouTube sometimes automatically unsubscribes people without warning. Doing this really makes a massive difference and helps out a lot. Your subscription directly expands the reach of this channel, helping these videos find a much wider audience, and if you make that choice, I personally promise to keep delivering more entertaining, highly informative, and premium quality videos just for you. Now, let's take a look at a crucial match before that final, which was against Switzerland. I am sure you remember the absolute outrage surrounding this match, which was incredibly unfair, showing just how blatantly the referees, FIFA, and VAR worked together to favor the Argentine squad. In this matchup, Switzerland was leading 1-0 and was on the verge of scoring a second goal. But then, everything completely shifted. What happened next? There was a highly controversial play, and I actually have it right here. Let us see if we can actually take a look at it because they have practically hidden this footage from the public. It was a play where the Swiss player, wearing that red jersey near the bottom, is moving. He has possession of the ball and suddenly goes down. Sure, they claimed he took a massive dive. So, he goes down, they call it a simulation, and the referee immediately runs over to the spot. He approaches the players right there. First, he shows a yellow card to the Argentine defender. Okay, that is how it started. At this point, it is just a simple yellow. And we can all agree this play happened completely outside the penalty box, far from the goal, making it relatively harmless, right? Exactly. It is just a booking, not a red card. But the Argentine players immediately pressure him to check VAR, and so the referee begins reviewing the footage. During this critical play, the VAR booth comes up with a totally bizarre claim of mistaken identity. Wait, mistaken identity? Seriously? That was their excuse before the referee walked back out. He decides to rescind the yellow card because he believes the player dived, and then he marches over to the Swiss forward, hands him a second yellow card, and sends him off. It was easily one of the most controversial decisions favoring Argentina in the entire tournament, leaving the Swiss player completely stunned. In the end, he was sent packing out of nowhere because of VAR's heavy-handed intervention, which completely devastated Switzerland and ultimately caused them to lose the match. Especially after they were leading. It was absolutely devastating. People kept arguing that we just have to trust VAR and follow the official rules of the game. But honestly, this entire situation was just absolute chaos. And how did the Argentine players react? They insisted the refs were brilliant. They kept saying the rules were followed perfectly. Take a look at Leandro Paredes. He was asked directly about the rumors that referees were helping Argentina. Any thoughts on that? What did he say? There is a widespread belief across the football world that Argentina is getting help from the refs. Do you have any thoughts on that? He responded that he had absolutely nothing to say, claiming the match officials were doing an excellent job and that reporters were simply trying to manufacture unnecessary drama. He said they only focus on doing their best on the pitch, and nothing else matters. Thank you, Martin. An absolutely excellent job. Yeah, right. Just imagine that. They gave him a direct red card. Well, quite a bit of time has passed since then. But today, something completely unexpected happened. The official law-making body for global football, which actually operates completely independently from FIFA, has just released a major statement. They are the ones who write the official rules of the game, and they explicitly stated that sending Embolo off was a massive mistake. Breel Embolo was the star striker, by the way, who had already scored for Switzerland in that match. IFAB, the governing body that establishes the rules of football, officially determined that the forward was completely wrongly sent off during that match. Think about that. This final ruling confirms that the referees and the VAR officials heavily favored Argentina in a crucial moment Because let's be absolutely clear, this was not just a simple human mistake by the referee on the field. He originally showed a yellow card to the Argentine defender, which was the initial human error, but then the VAR stepped in to make things even worse. 3 referees, multiple cameras capturing every single angle. They are the ones who cooked up this whole scheme and sent the order down. You see that earpiece in his ear, they are screaming, "Do this, do that, do exactly this, okay?" And just like that, the red card came out. In other words, this was no mistake, it was a conspiracy. So, the Argentine national team was clearly favored during the 2026 World Cup. Look, we all saw it happen, but what Tom is saying is absolutely crucial. That is the International Football Association Board, or the IFAB. They are the official body that writes the laws of soccer. So, what does it say? Through circular number 34 released this Tuesday, the board declared that the Swiss star, Embolo, was wrongly sent off because the rule was applied completely incorrectly. And according to the very people who wrote the rules, a single yellow card, not a second yellow, can only ever be reviewed to identify the specific player who committed the foul. The actual foul itself cannot be reviewed or modified in any way. In other words, this entire play should have never, ever been reviewed by VAR in the first place. It was still a clear refereeing error to give that yellow card to the Argentine, but VAR had absolutely no authority to review the play. They just did not have it. The only way they could have legally reviewed this play is if it had been a second yellow card, meaning a red card expulsion. Yes, let them check. But remember, this was only his very first yellow card. Okay, like I said, that is the official rule. Yes, the actual rule. People get so incredibly specific about these regulations, but hey, that is the law. The very fact that VAR even stepped in is crazy, especially since they can only review a yellow card in cases of mistaken identity. Remember that? Mistaken identity. What does that actually mean? It means the referee shows a yellow card to player number 8, but the guy who actually committed the foul was player number 10. The ref got confused, right? The referee was totally spaced out and made a massive blunder. Then VAR steps in and says, no, it was not number 8, it was actually number 10. Oh, it is you. That is the only reason VAR can review yellows, which clearly did not happen here. In fact, the entire situation was so incredibly crooked and perverse that they actually had to officially label it as a mistaken identity error, right? Except it was absolutely not an error of identification. This whole excuse about the referee booking the wrong player is a complete lie. It was not like that at all. This was a massive, absolute, monstrous conspiracy to guarantee Argentina did not lose. They were tied, but Switzerland was right on the verge of scoring their second goal. It is the 70th minute, and who do they send off? Their star goal scorer. Embolo was their main weapon, the guy who scored Switzerland's only goal. He was their top scorer, and they just kick him out. Honestly, it was a total robbery. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. But wait, that was not even the only massive controversy. Now we have another referee practically running away, and it is the referee from the final itself. The referee who officiated the entire World Cup final, Slavko Vinčić, has suddenly announced his official retirement at the age of 46. This Slovenian official, part of the FIFA roster since 2016, he also took charge of the 2022 Europa League final and the 2024 Champions League final. He was even named the best referee of the 2026 World Cup. But now, many fans in Argentina are claiming that this sudden departure proves something shady was going on, and that the World Cup was outright stolen from them. That is their claim. They point to how this referee booked Enzo Fernandez for a tackle that was a textbook direct red card, even though he only ended up getting a yellow. But honestly, I think this is just a smokescreen to cover up reality, because there were 2 other massive decisions that heavily favored Argentina during the match. Let us be honest, Spain won that final simply because they were vastly superior. And I am not just saying they played better soccer, Spain actually put the ball in the net 3 times. The score should have been 3-0, but they had 2 goals disallowed. One was enough, but Spain deserved that 3-0 victory. Let us look back at the first goal before the official 1-0 scoreline. If you remember the play, it started with a simple cross into the box. The ball comes in, the Spanish attacker is right there, and the Argentine defender suddenly throws himself to the ground, taking a massive, shameless dive when the Spanish player did absolutely nothing to him. He just collapses. And if you watch the replay closely, he clearly lands on his right leg. Actually, he lands on his left leg, but then immediately starts grabbing his right leg in pain. So supposedly they called a foul because VAR actually reviewed this entire scene. Think about that, the Spanish player allegedly hit his left leg, but he grabbed his right leg. The guy literally faked the wrong leg, and yet the play originally ended in a goal. And because of this ridiculous dive where there was absolutely no contact whatsoever, they disallowed a perfectly good goal for Spain. Unbelievable. The Argentine defender got so confused he literally forgot which leg was supposed to be hurting. Honestly, he should have received a yellow card for that shameless dive. But of course they just ignored it, and the other big controversy was the goal by Ferran Torres. The score was already 1-0, and right then, Ferran Torres slides in to net another goal. We can actually show that play, right? Spain is up 1-0 when it happens. Ferran Torres makes his run out of nowhere and buries the ball in the net. But wait, now they are claiming it was an offside play. Just look closely at this replay right here. Does that look like an offside to you? At the very least, VAR had an absolute obligation to review this potential offside, yet they completely ignored it. Seriously, the video assistant referee had to step in here because the play ended in a crucial goal, but they did absolutely nothing. Everyone immediately screamed offside, but looking at the frozen frame, you really cannot tell. At best, it is incredibly close and highly controversial. The video booth never even checked it. These two massive slip-ups are probably what drove the head referee to finally say, "Forget this, I am done. I did the best I could out there." The furious Argentine squad and Gianni Infantino were all over him, demanding to know why Messi did not get his penalty. But the referee shut them down quickly, pointing out that Argentina barely even entered Spain's penalty box the entire match. How on earth can I award Messi a penalty if he never even set foot inside the box? They were nowhere near the Spanish goalkeeper. Absolutely nowhere. Exactly. So how could anyone expect a penalty call? Yet, the officials actually did them a favor with those two controversial goals. Now what are the Argentinians doing about it? Like total sore losers, they are actually trying to sue FIFA. This whole situation is just mind-blowing. Let us take a closer look at the actual report. High-profile American law firms are apparently preparing to sue FIFA over the World Cup final. They are claiming the true victims here are the fans who bought tickets to see them play Spain. Yes, we are talking about the actual spectators who paid to sit in the stadium. Because they did not like the final score, they want to sue FIFA simply because the massive crowd of Argentine fans had to watch their team lose the championship. I promise you, this is not a joke. According to the controversial Argentine journalist Eduardo Feynman, this is exactly the legal battle they are launching in America. Seriously. Right now, 3 or 4 American law firms are putting together a massive class action lawsuit targeting FIFA and its Swiss president, Gianni Infantino. Their argument is that 80,000 people in the stadium were completely defrauded simply because Spain walked away with the trophy instead of Argentina. Even though, let us be honest, a huge portion of those fans were actually cheering for Spain to win. These spectators allegedly shelled out an average of over $8,000 per ticket just to be there. If they can get just 5,000 of those 80,000 spectators to sign on, they can officially bring this absurd case before a federal prosecutor. Honestly, the Argentines are just continuing to embarrass themselves on a global stage. I truly cannot understand this mindset. They are taking this embarrassing drama to an absolute next level. But hey, that is exactly how they are choosing to handle this defeat. And that is where the controversy stands.